Hey, Paula, welcome to the Roar Like the Lamb Thanksgiving special.
This feels like a Macy's Day Parade.
Oh, yeah.
This
Oh,
feels
yeah. There's going to be
special.
floats and giant balloons, and we're just going to talk about it. We're just going to talk about the marching bands and all the lip-syncing pop stars that come by and fall off the floats and stuff. It's going to be great.
I hate the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
You hate it?
I can't stand it.
Did you ever go?
No, I was forced to watch it early in the morning. Ugh.
Well, not that early.
Oh, but listen, for a kid who's sleeping in, and then you're like, oh my gosh, you can't watch your cartoons, you can't watch your shows. We're gonna watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on
It's
TV.
a Thursday. There's no cartoons or shows on in the morning.
VCR, like you just plug them in, and then like, no, I really don't like parades.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of them.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What started to really disturb me about the Macy's parade was the lip syncing.
Never caught on because I didn't care.
Yeah, no, it was watching and then realizing just how obviously they were lip syncing and often how badly they were lip syncing.
Oh, terrible.
Seeing musicians playing instruments that were not plugged into anything and going, there's no way that's not possible.
Did you enjoy it ever in your life?
At one time as a kid, yeah, it was kind of fun.
Okay.
It's kind of fun to watch.
Interesting.
Yeah. We went one year.
Oh.
We didn't make it to the actual parade. We got into the city, and like to get a spot on the parade route.
Yeah.
You get there super early.
Yeah.
So we were there super early in the morning. There's all these people all over the place, and it was like 10 degrees. And so me and my little brother were just freezing to death. So my parents just looked at their poor little frozen children like, let's go home. And they took us home. So we had a really good time taking the train to the city and standing on the street waiting for the parade to start, and then we just said forget it and we quit and we went home. And I honestly don't have any regrets about that experience.
Oh, okay.
It was just one of those, we went to the city, we stood there for a while, froze,
and then
went
came
home
back.
Yeah, all good.
Sure.
All good.
Okay.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
So that's one of my Thanksgiving stories. I think everybody has a few of those.
My sister's birthday falls on Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Her least favorite.
It can fall on Thanksgiving.
It can every
doesn't
few.
Always, because Thanksgiving moves.
Right. Yeah. It does. So I would be like, oh, there's no need to get you a present today if it fell on our birthday. We have a turkey for you. And she hates turkey. Like she actually doesn't like Thanksgiving, like traditional Thanksgiving dinner. Okay. So she really despised it when her birthday fell on Thanksgiving. And I would use it as an excuse. I'll have to get you a birthday. Like that was a whole day celebrated just for you.
Okay. I kind of like that.
She didn't. So.
No presents because it's Thanksgiving. Or did you ever use it's almost Thanksgiving, or it's close to Thanksgiving. It's just after Thanksgiving. So I can't celebrate you because you know what? We just had a big celebration. We just had all these guests over. So no party for you, no gift, nothing.
What's worse right now is
Here's
that her birthday.
Here's some leftover mince pie.
We don't eat that.
Exactly.
That will never find its way in a Colombian household. I don't even know what it is.
Mince pie it used to be minced meats.
So ground beef.
So it was either ground beef or various other meats that had been so the way that they're done, it's kind of sweetened, but it's meat in a pie. Yeah. And now it's mostly like I don't even know what kind of filling, because I also don't eat mince pie. I don't particularly like pumpkin pie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people find me odd because of that.
That's fine.
I'm not a huge fan.
You're welcome to like and dislike what you want.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you giving me that freedom.
We all need affirmations. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I do what I can.
Wow. Okay, while we're talking about Thanksgiving food, you mentioned that you didn't have maybe some of the typical stuff.
No,
So there are certain things that are never going to find their way into a Colombian house.
No, so definitely not mince pie.
Give me an example of Thanksgiving foods that a Colombian family would not have if they're celebrating Thanksgiving here in these United States.
Interesting. Okay. Well, this is really hard. Can I tell you what we would have?
Yes.
That's just easier to do.
Please, go for it.
We always had rice.
Okay.
You have to have rice.
Sure.
We would also have buñuelos, which are this little cheese dough ball that's fried.
Ooh.
It's so good. I don't know how to describe it. This is really hard to describe.
I've actually made those.
You've made those?
Yeah, it's like a cheese dough ball. So I had them, and a friend of mine from Mexico helped me to make them. And so we were making them as because he was having Thanksgiving with my family one year.
Okay.
Yeah, so like a fried dough ball with cheese in it. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
I don't remember them being called buñuelos, but that doesn't mean anything.
Well,
it just means that I don't remember.
I know in
something.
Mexico, when I think they usually do their version, it's a sweet version. Ours is like a savory version. So
Okay.
there might, I don't know.
I don't remember it being sweet.
In Brazil, it's coxinhas. I gotta get Sandra to
You
say
gotta
it
get
right.
some more
Coxinhas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
coxinhas.
I feel like every country has their own version of like a fried cheese ball. So we have
Why
those.
wouldn't you? And honestly, let's talk about that for a second. Fried cheese balls. Okay. Why isn't that more of a specialty? Why aren't we eating that more frequently?
It's also
on
it's not
Thanksgiving?
it's not like you pull apart and you see cheese. So it's
just
really
sort of in there.
It's in
Yeah.
there with the dough, so it's
Yeah.
more doughy with
It's
the
integrated.
flavor. It's integrated with the flavor
Yeah.
of cheese. So that is that.
Okay.
Buñuelos. We always would have. I mean, we always had a turkey and ham.
Sure. Ham also in addition to the turkey.
Yeah, you do both
Okay.
because not everybody likes turkey.
Okay.
So you have to have ham.
No, I think the idea for my family was always we're having turkey. Deal with it if you don't like turkey.
Really?
Now, I happen to like turkey a lot, so I'm perfectly content having the turkey.
So my sister, who doesn't like Thanksgiving food, would always
Doesn't
request
like Thanksgiving.
chicken.
I don't like the concept. I object to the whole thing.
Well, I mean, considering some things, she would be just like, I don't believe in it anymore. But so she would ask for chicken. So
Okay.
there was always chicken. We would never have like a green bean casserole. I didn't know what that was until I was in college.
Sure.
I was like, what is that? It sounds weird.
Most casserole is a little bit weird.
This is true.
We're just going to take a bunch of stuff and put it into this, put breadcrumbs on top,
Yeah.
and put it in the oven.
Yeah. And then we would also just have beans. So it'd be rice, beans, turkey, ham, buñuelos. And then
So you didn't do mashed potatoes. You didn't do sweet potatoes. You didn't do stuffing.
So my grand aunts married Americans.
Okay.
So when we would go to their house, I never met their husbands because they died early on. That was the first encounter that I had with a sweet potato yam dish. And I was like, no,
No.
nah. I was like, what the heck is that? I've never
Sweet
seen.
potato, and then to make it sweeter, you put cinnamon on it.
Nah, I mean, like she had marshmallows on top of this thing, and I was like, that looks like.
I don't approve of the addition of marshmallows. No. I wouldn't do that.
No.
Okay.
So I like avoided that dish completely because it smelled bad, and I tasted it, and I was like, this thing tastes disgusting.
Yeah. Okay.
But then I realized, well, they're mostly of Colombian cuisine, so I don't know if they really mastered that part.
It's very possible.
No, that's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
It is. That's exactly what happened. But that would be it, and there would be a repeat on Christmas, kind of like the same idea. Although on Christmas you can get a whole thing which is called a lechona, so you get an entire roasted pig, and then on the inside of the pig they like took out the meats and then cooked it with rice and beans and vegetables, and then you stuff it right back into the pig, and then you let it cook a little bit more, and that's what you would serve on a Christmas night.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
I had that only once.
Okay.
Because it's very expensive to buy a whole pig.
Sure. Well,
Unless
and
you're
a
feeding them
pig
out.
roast is going to take a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah. So that's what we did on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mostly Colombian dishes with like a little bit of American dishes, and that's it.
Okay. We would always do turkey, potatoes, stuffing, the typical stuff.
Yes.
And then every once in a while, my family would do a little competition. So there's a cranberry sauce competition one year.
You do a cranberry sauce competition?
Well, I don't.
Oh.
I think I can't remember which family member, but they sarcastically participated. They got the canned cranberry sauce and they opened the can and just dumped it out.
Did they win?
And they served it on a dish like that, and they said, "Here's my entry to the." And like, you could see the outlines of the can on the cranberries. It was very obvious that they hadn't tried it all. It was really funny. At least I thought it was really funny. I don't know if the host, probably one of my aunts, found it as funny as I found it, because I think maybe they felt a little upset that there wasn't full participation, but I thought it was hysterically funny.
Who's got time? It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You're on the run.
And then stuffing was a big deal. Every once in a while there would be a stuffing competition. Mashed potatoes was the big one though. The mashed potato contest was, and I don't mean the mashed potato dancing. Yeah, mashed potato contest. Like there's going to be a few people who bring a mashed potato dish, and then you've got to decide who made the best mashed potatoes.
What?
Well, because there's
That's so
different
cool.
ways to make it.
Yeah.
And there's varying degrees of success when you make mashed potatoes. They can be too runny, they can be too lumpy, there can be too many peels, there can be not enough peels in it. So there's all different ways that you can do it. And if you're doing it right, man, man, mashed potatoes are fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, they're great.
Okay.
And then the gravy's you got to have gravy on everything. You
Yeah.
just basically fill your plate and then just
And
dump
just put
gravy
gravy-
everywhere
yeah,
on
gravy.
everything. It's fantastic. I also though could do without the green bean casserole. Really, for me, casserole in general is not something I really need much of. I'm okay without
Or
it.
if you're from Minnesota, a hot dish.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah, they don't call it a
Okay.
casserole.
Well,
it's actually contentious.
I can do without that also. Casserole or hot dish. I don't really care what you call it. I'm not super interested.
Okay.
Right? But the I think the thing that would always be maybe the point of debate is what side dish is unnecessary at Thanksgiving. And so there's all these things, and you start to find out that people bring these other side dishes to their Thanksgivings, and you start going, okay, I don't need that. I'm not super interested. But every once in a while, somebody brings something you've never had at Thanksgiving, and you really want to try it. But things for me, like I don't need yams. I don't really need the sweet potatoes. I know some people really, really love them. I'm okay not having sweet potatoes. I don't mind sweet potatoes, but I'm okay not having them. Some people are like, we should have butternut squash. Skip the squash always.
Oh, wait, I love
it's
butternut
never
squash.
necessary to have that. No,
that's not necessary.
It's
at
never
Thanksgiving.
necessary. No, nobody needs it ever.
But what if you had like a butternut squash with Brussels sprouts, craisins, maple balsamic vinaigrette?
I'd have all
and
of that.
Toss
Just
that
take
with a little bit
out-
of pecans or walnuts.
Yeah, I'd have all of that. Just take out the butternut squash because
Really?
butternut squash is pointless.
It's so good.
No, squash and gourds are dumb. They're unnecessary. We don't need to have any of that.
Did you
No.
grow up too much with that?
No.
No, you just don't like them?
I just don't like them.
What?
Yeah, no, I'm perfectly content without any of that stuff. I don't need it.
Okay.
You know how I feel about pumpkin spice?
You don't.
I'm totally against it. I'm
Yes,
opposed to,
so
the,
am
to the
I.
entire
I'm right-
concept.
There's
Yeah.
no competition here.
So I allow that. It's a transitive property. I am against pumpkin spice, therefore I am also against these other things.
All forms of
yes,
gourds.
I stand opposed to gourds. I stand opposed. This is very important to me, you know. But my brother called me last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm going down to Virginia to see him and my parents and to meet his girlfriend for the first time. I'm really excited about this. Yeah. And so she actually jumped on the phone, and that was her question to me. What side dish do you absolutely have to have? And what side dish do you hate and want us to skip? And it was a really interesting little conversation. So like somehow the subject of turnips came up, and I said, who in their right mind is having turnips at Thanksgiving? And I'm sure that I'm going to offend one of our tens of listeners. So, maybe 10% of you will be.
What do you?
I don't know.
What do you make?
I don't know. Well, see, I would never eat a turnip. It's just
Have
not
I ever had a turnip? I don't think I have.
See, many root vegetables, not all root vegetables, but many root vegetables to me are just kind of, they're too earthy. Like I can't eat beets. I can't eat turnips. It's not going to do it for me. Carrots I'm fine with. Potatoes I'm fine with. But
So the earthy stuff, you're not a.
some of the root vegetables to me are just either
They're too
bland and
dirty for you?
tasteless. No, it's
I'm
not that
kidding.
they're dirty. It's just that I just don't like how they taste. There's something weird about them, and so I just stay away from them. Anyway, so
Interesting.
here we are talking about all these different foods.
I think I'm gonna make you a butternut squash dish.
Please don't.
What about butternut squash soup?
Okay, soup would be a different thing. You've used it to create a soup that I could probably handle.
Okay.
Like a soup is a little bit different. You can add some other things. So, yeah. So
What about acorn squash?
I don't think so.
Like a stuffed acorn squash, that's really good.
No, I don't think I need that.
All right, I feel like compelled to make something now.
I'm generally pretty open to foods. That's the thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so,
okay.
like when I have decided that a food is not to be eaten, I tend to be pretty strong on that.
Really?
Yeah. Like besides,
no gourds have a chance.
gourds don't really have a chance. And aside from fried calamari, I won't eat octopus.
I mean, fried calamari is pretty good.
Fried calamari is amazing, but like just plain octopus, it's just I can't do it.
Texture.
It's all texture and no taste. I just can't handle it.
Interesting.
So, but here's the thing. All right, I love Thanksgiving because we have this big celebration. We eat all this food. It's good to be together with people. But I always think that the food is really meant to actually point us to something more. The food connects us to something. So when I was in seminary and studying in Rome, you're away from home for all this time. And I remember the first Thanksgiving away from home. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I didn't know how it was going to feel. And you get up in the morning and your whole corridor, everybody on your hall, because we were given the day off. The university respected the American holiday of Thanksgiving enough to say, we understand that that's important for you guys. You don't have to come to class. You're excused.
Nice.
It was awesome. It was so
Nice.
cool. So the whole corridor would get together and you'd have breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'd have guys cooking and making pancakes and stuff. And so it was as American as we could feel that morning.
Yeah.
And then you'd get down for mass. And this is another, we're going to talk about mass in a second, but you'd have mass and all of the entire seminary community, so 200 plus guys plus priests, and then the graduate house, which was for priests, they would all come. And then we'd have basically every expat in Rome who knew somebody at the seminary would show up. So we would have about 1,000 people.
No
at
way.
Mass. Yeah, maybe not quite that many, but it was enormous.
Yeah.
We'd pack it in for mass, and then we'd go to have our Thanksgiving dinner. And Thanksgiving dinner would then consist of, your 800 closest friends. And so you sit by state or by region. So we didn't have enough Connecticut guys to have our own table. So we had the New England table. And so you'd sit with all the guys from New England.
Actually, that happens in almost every kind of like group Catholic setting, like either with Focus or Life Team.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Connecticut state is not big enough to sustain itself.
Yeah,
So you have to
we
be
just don't
grouped
there's just
with
not
the
enough
rest of the region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would go and you'd sit by region or by state if your state had enough guys from that particular
Yeah.
state. So there we are all together. And then each table, so by state or by region, you'd have guys who had prepared a dish that was going to be particular to their area.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so things that had become traditional Thanksgiving fare in these different states,
what
in these
is
different
New
places.
England?
Well, one year a guy made New England clam chowder.
Oh, yeah.
And so it wasn't so much that it had to be Thanksgiving fare, but it was just something that from home that we can't normally get here.
Yeah.
So guys would make that. And that was always really fun. But I remember that first Thanksgiving, and the first course they brought out was pasta, because here we are in Rome. Well, then I found out from a whole bunch of guys that pasta is very often served at Thanksgiving dinner in like Italian households.
Ah, that makes
I never knew
sense.
that because we always did Thanksgiving with my mom's side of the family.
Yeah.
And my mom's side of the family doesn't do pasta. I'm sure my mother's family eats pasta, but like it's not the Italian side.
Yeah.
Right. So we never had pasta. But apparently this was a thing that was normal. I didn't know that, so I was kind of thrown off. So I ate some, but I thought, you know what? I don't want to overdo it on the starches because the mashed potatoes are coming, and I want to make sure that I get some mashed potatoes. By the time like the passing tray got around to me, there were no mashed potatoes left.
Oh my God.
And I was so depressed. My first Thanksgiving away from home, and I didn't get mashed potatoes, and it was so disappointing.
That is a must-have though. Like that.
So it was rough. Anyway,
Yeah.
So then what would happen is after the meal, guys would start to go back to their rooms and everything, and everybody was kind of hanging out for the day.
Yeah.
But you'd see by time zone guys going to make phone calls home. So because you're calling for when everybody's going to be there, and so we were going by time zone. So the East Coast guys went first and would go up and make their calls, and then come back downstairs and hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
Well, over the course of the years, Thanksgiving at the seminary became one of my favorite things. And it was kind of strange to me coming home to Thanksgiving with family, which is a weird concept, right? But by the time I came home, the idea of Friendsgiving had become really popular.
Oh.
And so I started having people who were inviting me to Friendsgiving, and I would get really excited about going to Friendsgiving. And God bless my family, I love them very, very much, but I was like way more excited about Friendsgiving than I was about Thanksgiving with my friends, because the Friendsgiving one always reminded me of being with the guys at the seminary, being with my brothers and those guys who I was close to over there. So I really kind of treasure the idea of Friendsgiving, and I think it's a really healthy thing also. And we need Thanksgiving, we need to be with family, we need to have that time where we're together that way. But there's something really special about being able to like just be with some other people who you might not normally see, or to celebrate and to be thankful with them, because sometimes your friends are the ones who you see most often.
That's true.
You know, I see my friends most often, and because I see them so frequently, these are people for whom I am thankful. So I love the idea of Friendsgiving.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. It's very tenderhearted of you.
I have some sentimental shreds in me. They're not often allowed out, but they're there. They're there. Well, people always ask me, like, "What, don't you miss being in Rome?" I said, "No, I don't miss being in Rome. Rome is crazy. It's a beautiful city, and there's lots of great stuff there, but I don't miss it."
Yeah.
But I absolutely miss the seminarians, and now most of them are priests. I absolutely miss the guys who I studied with and who I was classmates with. I actually have friends from here in Connecticut who have moved out to Wyoming, and a buddy of mine who's a priest out there. I told him, these people are not far from you. It just happened that where they were in Wyoming was relatively close to where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, you've got to meet my friend, Father Steve. And they finally met. And they sent me a picture together. I was so excited. It just it made my day. And it was so funny because he just, out of the blue, hey, I met these guys.
That's awesome.
You just feel like you're picking up right where you left off, you know?
That's really cool.
That's what I always miss. But
yeah. That's cool.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
I don't know.
Okay. No plans yet?
No plans yet. Holidays are a little tricky.
Sure.
So.
Sure. I'm on the road. I'm going down to Virginia. I'm going to see mom and dad and my brother. And I haven't seen Gabe in 2 years.
My
just about.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We talk on the phone, we text and everything.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually seen him.
Not to see your brother for that long.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine that.
Yeah. It's the second time in my life I've done that.
Huh. I mean, first time was Rome.
Yeah, first time was Rome. Now,
yeah.
Again.
Now
and pandemic.
That's true.
So
that's true.
It's never been by choice. It's never been we didn't have a fight or anything. I'm not going to see you for 2 years.
You don't get to fights with your siblings where you're just like, I'm going to start talking to you for a little bit.
Not like that.
No. Yeah.
No, not like that.
We're probably just going to go to my aunt's house.
Okay.
Her house. But then, some people serve Thanksgiving dinner at different times. There's like the noon people. There's the 3 p.m. people, the 6 p.m. people. My aunt falls under the 10 p.m. people.
Why in the world?
Listen, we're like, we're going to go eat at like the Ascenda's house. Like, fantastic.
See, like
the food is not ready until like 9:30 or 10.
Oh, wow.
So you're just hungry.
Yeah.
But I grew up like that too.
Okay.
Like no one put the turkey in the oven until after 12. And so you're just told not to eat anything all day. So you're grumbling and you're hangry and you're mad but you're trying not to eat because you want to leave room.
Do you think that's why Thanksgiving has the reputation of being the most dysfunctional holiday? Everybody gets together and just mad at each other.
Well, yeah, because everybody's hungry.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right, so the rule is you got to start Thanksgiving early.
Well, I don't know.
All right, have a snack then at least.
Oh, you have to eat something. You're going to go nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah. So we'll see what time we eat this year. Well, but it's always after 9.
See, I can understand the noon time. So it's going to be more like a Thanksgiving lunch, and we're just going to eat for the rest of the day. We're going to make this meal last really long.
You're just going to graze.
Yeah. But the idea of like dinners at 3 today has never really made any sense to me. It just doesn't.
It doesn't.
I don't get it. I don't know why that particular time of day has been chosen, but so many people choose that as the time to start. Okay. I don't know. I find it a little bit odd. All right. Yeah. One more thing I want to talk about.
Okay, go for it.
For Thanksgiving. One of the things that I love about Thanksgiving is that when you go to Mass on Thanksgiving Day here in the United States, you will hear a particular Mass for Thanksgiving. And that particular Mass is included in the Roman Missal that is used here in the United States. You will not find that particular Mass anywhere else in the world.
That makes sense.
Because it's only Thanksgiving for Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And so the American Church has composed this Mass and been given permission by the Congregation for Divine Worship, by the Pope himself, to use this particular setting, these prayers, for the Holy Sacrifice on Thanksgiving Day. And what it does is it allows us to take what is a civic holiday. And that's, I think, the thing to remember is Thanksgiving is actually a civic holiday.
Yeah.
It's not a religious holiday primarily.
Right.
Yes, it's got these religious undertones, but it's a civic holiday. And that's actually one of the beautiful things, right? So here we have, if you go back and read Abraham Lincoln's first Thanksgiving proclamation.
I haven't, but do tell.
So his first Thanksgiving proclamation came after the Civil War.
Okay.
I think it was after. And in any case, it was for all Americans to take time to thank God for his gifts and for the gift of peace, that the Union was still preserved.
Mm-hmm.
And so this command or call from the president himself to pray in thanksgiving to God. Now, Thanksgiving was then sort of observed in various ways in the United States until finally it became a national holiday to be observed. And so at that point it becomes a holiday. Like the tradition of Thanksgiving was present, but now it's going to be fixed on this date, and we're going to do it, or on this day, I should say, not date. On this day, every year we're going to have Thanksgiving. And it's a time for Americans to come together and to give thanks. And every year that now the president issues a proclamation, and it's meant to be something reminding us of what Thanksgiving is all about, to turn to God in thanksgiving. So even as a country, it's that reminder that we do need to pray. We do need to turn to God.
Right.
There's something really powerful about that. Right. So the U.S. bishops, recognizing how important Thanksgiving had become and recognizing that this particular day is both civic and, because it has these religious undertones, a time for us to turn to God, said, well, what do we as Catholics do when we want to turn to God? We gather for the Mass.
Yeah.
We offer the Mass. We celebrate the Holy Sacrifice, and we come together for the Eucharist. Eucharist
Thanksgiving.
Is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's the Greek word for Thanksgiving. So here we come together for the Eucharist, for the very great act of Thanksgiving, of giving thanks to Almighty God for everything that we have. And so the bishops said we need to have prayers for a Mass for this day that set this day apart. And so in the Roman Missal, you'll find the prayers for Thanksgiving Day.
That's so cool.
I think it's fantastic. It's so powerful, so beautiful.
Yeah.
And this to me is also a sign of how the church cares for her people throughout the world, right? That the church recognizes that these different celebrations, and there are other countries that have their own particular celebrations that get their own prayers, right?
What are some examples of other ones? I'm curious.
I think certain feasts are actually ingrained in the calendars of some countries.
Okay.
So especially traditionally Catholic countries,
Okay.
certain feast days are part of their calendar. They're observed so the Feast of St. Joseph, for example, in Italy, St. Joseph is the patron of Italy, and that's also Father's Day. Now they don't have special prayers for it because it's St. Joseph and they focus on Joseph. But there's different places where maybe an Independence Day for a particular country they give thanks to God for the gift of freedom or something like that.
Okay.
So there's all these different places where there might be some particular celebration that's unique to that country where the church recognizes we can sanctify that, we can bless it, we can pray along with the people of this nation.
Right. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there's a beauty of, you recognize what enculturation is really about, that the church seeks to baptize all cultures.
Yes.
And to take what is good in them and what is better than giving thanks to Almighty God. Right? So the church recognizes that. I think it's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We had an Australian professor in seminary who was fascinated by the idea of Thanksgiving.
Really?
But always had to teach on Thanksgiving. So I think one year guys finally got him to come and experience Thanksgiving dinner. But he would get so excited about the idea for us.
Oh.
So on Thanksgiving or the day before, the day after, he was always, making sure to pull out the Americans and wish them a happy Thanksgiving. He really loved to do that. I just thought that was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's good too, because that's, building an attitude of gratitude is what
attitude of gratitude.
It's just a really powerful thing.
Maybe we can remix you saying attitude of gratitude and put it to like a techno beat or something.
Yeah, we're going to let Chris do that.
Yeah.
Let me repeat it for you, Chris. Attitude of gratitude.
Awesome.
You can find something to do with that.
Attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
It's a little zinger, but yeah, I think that's awesome. I'm looking forward to that too. Just being able to take that time to reflect on the things that you have been given. Because I recently was talking to somebody who was in a unfortunate little car accident. And the one thing I could just think to ask was, what are graces or things that you're grateful for? And it really just changed the perception of the experience.
Sure.
Like, at least you have your life. Thank goodness it wasn't anything like more serious or critical.
Yeah.
But
that's powerful. Okay, then last thing. The game around the Thanksgiving Day table. What are you thankful for, Paola?
Listen, I'm going to be so thankful for my cousin Marlon, because that kid is a hoot. So I look forward to these family dinners just so I can hear him talk under his breath. Because the things that this kid says, he's 18 now, but he doesn't yell, he doesn't speak loudly. Meanwhile, the rest of my family is just loud and boisterous. I'm being told to shut up because I'm getting too loud.
You're too loud?
I'm very loud.
I believe it.
Yeah, I know, you should. So
I hear you in these headphones.
So Marlon would just start talking, and he'd either be commenting about somebody at the table or commenting on their situation, about their personal life, and you have to pay attention. You have to listen.
I like it.
Because he doesn't want to be the center of attention, but this kid is just so funny. So it's not necessarily a game, but I feel like I'm tuned into somebody's like own little podcast at the table.
Nice.
And so I try to get a seat next to him because I just want to listen to him.
Okay.
Yeah, but I love it because when I'm with my aunt and my cousins, we just laugh so hard. We laugh so hard, and like we're super full. But I look forward to just it's everybody roasting each other. Like that's really I don't know. That's what brings us together.
Good.
The roasting of each other brings us together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that's our game.
Okay.
Yeah. What
Nice.
about you?
I'm very thankful for the chance to be with family, and very thankful just that this has been one of those years of lots of crazy stuff happening, but to see so much good coming out of it all, here in the parish, to see so much good happening, that's affecting lives in such a really beautiful way. I'm really excited for that.
That's
And
awesome.
I'm really grateful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really grateful.
Do you go around the table and say one thing you're grateful for or thankful for?
Okay.
I've never done that before.
Yeah, for many years that was the rule, and Mom would enforce it, and we had to go around and say what we were thankful for. And then my brother and my cousins and I all got to a point where we were more confident being sarcastic to our adult relatives, and so we
More confident.
yeah we started causing problems. We would interrupt each other and just try to get the whole thing off track so that you couldn't actually engage in the exercise, and it was really fun. We would do this also. My mom would like to like for Christmas she would invent a game that we had to play as a family.
Yeah.
So she'd invent a game, or she'd find one online, and she'd try to teach us the game and explain the game, and we would this is terrible. I have no regrets about this at all. we
Oh, I'm so excited for this.
we would just interrupt her while she was explaining the game and question whether or not the rule was fair, or like we would just come up with the most ridiculous responses to whatever the game was, to whatever the rules were, so that we wouldn't even get through a single round before she would just get so frustrated with us because
Oh my
we would constantly
gosh.
interrupt her and push buttons and everything, and it was so much fun. It was so much, and we knew that if we could get her to like use a swear word or something, we had really succeeded tremendously in ruining the game. And of course, we would just sit there and laugh and laugh and laugh. And my mother is going straight to heaven because she tolerates all of this because she is. Oh my goodness, yeah.
That's so great.
It's a lot of fun, and the games. I mean, they're always meant to be kind of silly games, and
Yeah.
so it lends itself to that.
Yeah.
And I think she knows that that's going to happen. And part of her just loving us is that she gives us these games so that we can tease her.
Well, have a happy Thanksgiving then. And
Thanks.
poor Mary Ellen, I'll be praying for her.
She'll really appreciate that. She'll appreciate that more than anything
Something
else.
about this day has been sanctified. I'm not sure why.
That's exactly it. All right. Well, from all of us to all of you,
Happy Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving.